This is Grimm Grinner on all channels.
Welcome to the waste.
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 Welcome to the wastes.
Welcome to the waste.
Welcome to the waste.
Welcome to the wastes.
Welcome to the waste.
Welcome to the wastes. Good afternoon, Wasteland. This is Grimm Grinner on all channels. I've just come back from a supply run with Mazzy and Lynx. We were in need of some stuff here at the bunker, and I figured that the air and sun might do me some good. Well, as good as the air quality is out there lately. If it hasn't been rad storms, there's been waves of drought in this region. Anyways, we were able to slip out for a quick 2-day supply and trading run with the camp just east of the rift. Now, what made this an interesting run was the particular camp we went to trade with, Camp Little Leaf. Some of you out there may know this already, but for anyone like myself who hasn't made it through that territory, Camp Little Leaf is definitely somewhere to put on the camp visit bucket list. Made up of completely young kids who got lost out in the wastes and built their own community in the wreckage of a small town. They've built up some walls around it and have become a haven of sorts for younger wastelanders. The oldest at the camp are barely in their late teens, and they've made it their mission to look after the younger ones and get them set up with the skills to survive. Not just those, but basic skills from the old world too, like reading and math. It was a lovely experience, and the trades we made were probably the most unique I've seen in a long while. They valued the seeds and water rations as most camps do, but also smaller trinkets, tokens that had memories of family and home camps attached to them, stuff like that. In return, we received some really fun little items ourselves. Small handmade knives and trinkets that I've already started putting up around my room here at the bunker. On the road back this way, our interactions really got me thinking about how many kids have been growing up in this wasted world. With places like Camp Little Leaf popping up, I began thinking of how I can hopefully help some of the lost youth out there. Of course, aiding camps like Little Leaf with whatever I can is a good start, but with so many people calling me the voice of the wastes, I figured I can help out in a much bigger way. So this transmission is going to be set on loop on a very particular broadcast frequency, and is meant for all the younger wastelanders out there. Think of it as a special version of Grimm's survival tips, I guess. But maybe we'll call it, I don't know, Grimm's Waste Survival Guide for Kids or something like that. So let's start with some of the basics. Picture this. You're out with your family, either biological or found. For anyone too young to understand, biological is like your mom or your dad, like the ones that gave birth to you. Found is the family you've kind of put together with friends and other people surviving out there. Anyways, yeah. You're out scavenging or traveling for whatever reason. Suddenly, something happens and you're separated. It's scary and you might feel alone. And that's totally understandable. But hope is not lost. It never is. When the shock of finding yourself on your own wears off, you can get a sense of what's around you. Try to figure out what you have nearby. You might have a pack with some food and water, but it will be a good idea anyways to try and find some more. Now, you have to be careful, because not all the food and water you find will be good for you. So try and find things in cans that don't have dents. There's a chance whatever is in them could still be good, and will have the kind of stuff that can keep you going until you can find some help. Water is also important, but trickier. You want to find water that is totally clear. If it's muddy or has things crawling around in it, it's definitely not safe. Even clear water can be bad for you depending on where it is. If you're near the rift, or anywhere that has a lot of rads, the water there will make you super sick. But if you can get some clear water somewhere aside from those kinds of places, there's a chance it will be good enough for drinking. Better yet, if you can get a fire going, or find a fire with a metal container to boil water, that's the best bet. Let it get nice and hot to burn off the bad stuff, and then let it cool off for a bit before drinking. And be very careful if you boil it, because that metal container will be really hot. Speaking of which, building a fire is a tough thing to do unless you have the right supplies. If you have some glass or something and can use it with some sunlight to get some paper burning, that's a fantastic start. If you're really lucky, you might be able to find a lighter or some matches or something if you're near some old world buildings. Those will speed things up big time. Now, if you have some food and you have some water, hopefully, you have to figure out the next step. If you know which way your group went, you can try and follow in that direction. But if you didn't see where they went, then you should find some shelter. Ruins are always a good bet if they seem empty, but if you're not near any, then you might have to figure something else out. Find some pieces of wood, or if you can find a tarp or something, and try to get it set up as a sort of roof or like a lean-to. It might keep out the rain, or keep you from being spotted by raiders or any of the other bad people out in the wastes. That brings me to the next tip I have for today, which is finding help. There's a lot of dangers out there, wastelanders. Ferals, raiders, and a bunch of other groups that would be very dangerous to run into. So you have to be careful who you approach for help. The big ones I would say to keep an eye out for that can help would be couriers, who usually are wearing a badge with a red phoenix on. They're always happy to help and can get you to an outpost or safe place easily. They might even help you with finding your group if they can. Another option for safety is looking for someone not too different from yourself. Younger, maybe a little lost as well, and not acting in a way that will be scary or dangerous. I know Camp Little Leaf has started trying to come up with a symbol that they can pin to themselves too, which might be something to look for. The third option for finding someone safe I have is to look for what's become wanderer markers. A lot of couriers use them, so they might help with being found by a friendly face. Wanderer markers are these symbols that are usually painted or carved in some way to mark safe spots and dangerous areas. They're usually indicated by 3 triangles in a circle, all of them pointing downward. In the center of those triangles will be another little marker that helps you know what it is. The ones you want to look for are very simple. First off is a small maple leaf symbol. That marks an area as safe. Usually shelter, but also just in terms of no other dangers around. Next up will be 2 lines going left and right with a star in the middle. That's usually a courier drop spot, which means they stop by there often. The last one I would keep a lookout for is 3 curved lines that are all different sizes. They'll look like waves moving up. That's a radio relay, and if it's been marked, then it might be one either couriers have used or I've even used. Those relays also double as a shelter, and sometimes have supplies. And, if you're feeling up to it, you can try turning on the radio transmitter, which is just a little switch on the main box, and send out a call for help. One channel you can try is channel 02.1196. That's a special channel that I always have a radio tuned to, so I'll hear you. I'm sure I could ramble for hours and hours on all sorts of survival tips for you younger wastelanders out there, but those are the main basics I have for right now. Maybe I'll do another round with some other tips, like for weapons and other protective items you can use or look for in the wastes. But for now, I want to make sure that if you're ever lost, you can get to somewhere safe. I know what it's like to be a young kid out in this wide, dangerous wasteland. It's really scary out there, but if you keep your wits about you and find some friends and some safety, it can become a lot less scary as you get bigger and older. This has been Grimm Grinner on all channels. See you in the wastes. Welcome to The Wastes is a Wasteland podcast brought to you by Edward Grimm Grinner Hutchinson. Feel free to follow me on all social media. Make sure to subscribe so you can hear new episodes as they release. If you like what I do here and want to support the podcast by getting some cool merch, check out my Etsy store. For more information and all the links, check out linktree.com/welcome to the wastes. Thanks for listening.